Building committee folks, come on up here. Anybody that wants to stick around and listen that didn't stick around last week, come on up, and we'll get started in just a minute.
Trying to help and just hold it over. That kid's resilient. He's fine. We'll wait for the caravan to pass through and get started. Yeah, Haley. I don't know if Johnny stayed last week. Okay. Something like nothing changed in the week. Whatever works. Burton, are we good to go? All right, everybody. Thank you for those who have stayed for the town hall today. So just want to give you a quick overview of what we're going to talk about today, the goals of this town hall. So we're going to start with introductions. I'll introduce myself and the building committee. Then we're going to go through how we got to where we are with FEMA, what's going on, what's next, how we're working with our partners to accomplish what we need to for FEMA. Then we'll open it up to you all for some questions that you might have about anything in the process. And then Naomi's going to close us out before we go. So my name is Daniel Foster. I'm part of the building committee. And up here today we have Howard Hale, Craig Kennedy, Tom Scott, Naomi, Jessica Dragonetti, and Corey Morris. So what we want to do here is just be open and transparent with you to make sure you know what's going on. We've been sending out emails from the listserv if you've been keeping up with those. If not, encourage you to join the listserv so you can get those emails as they come out and you can stay connected to what's going on, not only with building project, but what's going on with the life of East End, with all our various ministries and projects. So I'm going to hand it over to Tom to talk about FEMA, and then Craig talk about.
All right. So the good news about FEMA is we are qualified for the program already. So that's the good news. The bad news is that we just got started in February, March of this year. FEMA decided to change teams on us. The people that we had been working with got promoted, transferred, whatever. So that was sort of a setback for us. We had to start redoing everything again. In the first team, what we did, they had requested that we have plans that were approved by the city, that we had bids and everything. We turned all of that in. The new team came in and said, no, we're going to go a different approach. And their different approach would do a RF means estimates, what they call it, but it's basically a square footage estimate on the prior building. And they changed the project from a replacement project, which was for the bids and everything, to an improved project. And the good news about that is we can build whatever we want after we get approved. There's no limitations as far as we have to follow this exact plan to some degree, but so we do get change in that. So in mid-August, the new FEMA team gave us an RS means estimate that came in at $7.2 million. And of course, we submitted this and everything in 17 days, so we're quite far apart. The good news is, though, is that FEMA even admitted that they left some of the stuff off that we didn't have documented with codes and whatnot. So after that meeting with FEMA, where they gave us our means estimate, we decided, the building committee went back and said, okay, well, here's our plan. We're going to do 2 new estimates for them. One's going to be that we're going to take T.W. Fryerson's estimate that was submitted back in February of 2021. We're going to update that for codes requirements and for cost of living estimates. The second plan was to take the RS means estimate that basically FEMA had given us, redo the RS means estimate to also include, present them with that plan on September the 7th. We give them some preliminary data that we had been working on, because we wanted to make sure, are we heading down the right path? We don't want to go down this path and then y'all tell us, oh, this wasn't what you want. The other good news at that meeting is they had already increased their estimate from 7.2 to 7.5 million, and we hadn't submitted anything yet. So they've admitted that there's a lot of stuff they left out. They left out some site work stuff. They left all of that out. So, you know, it's going to go up. It's just how much can we deduct? But they did confirm that we're heading down the right path. Those 2 estimates would be great. They were particularly excited about the T.W. Frierson and estimating up that plan. They thought that would even be the better route for us to go. But we wanted to give them 2 that hopefully will be very close to one another, so that they don't have any argument. So we've got that. So EOA is working on the T.W. Frierson, help us get that updated. American Contractor's going to work with that too. They've been working on that now for about 3 weeks or so. Hopefully we'll get those done in the next several weeks and get those submitted to FEMA. This wrapped up, know what we get by Christmas break. Like I say, that's our goal. Hopefully we'll get it done. So we should have everything resubmitted to them, hopefully in the next several weeks. The last time we submitted something to them, it took them about 2 to 4 weeks to review it and get it back. So if we can get something to them within the next several weeks, they should have time to review it and get it back to us before the new year starts. So that's sort of where we're at with FEMA. And yeah, that's it.
A little bit of trouble hearing, but I believe, at least from the last town hall, that gave a fairly good sort of summary. One update, I did talk to the architects last week, and middle of this week, Tuesday-ish, they're sending us an updated kind of draft of these plans that code and handicap accessibility upgrades to them, like enclosed ramps and all sorts of things that require additional bathroom space, all that kind of thing. So we will review that, make any comments, they'll incorporate comments. I've also talked with our contractor, which is American Constructors. They're ready to go once we have this set of plans of the existing building plus code upgrades to do their cost estimate update, and then likewise our FEMA consultant is ready to do their cost estimate update. So, hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have sort of those things to a point where we can reissue those to FEMA to kind of get that process kicked back off or get the updates made there. Yes, questions? We're creating this set of plans of the existing building with these upgrades. Are we stipulated to build that project? No. So the shift in the road was really basically that, which is we've been moving for some time, years, I guess potentially, on this path of draw an equivalent building not necessarily a thumbprint, but draw an equivalent building by, use and capacity, those sort of things. Bid it, get a permit on it, and then send it to FEMA. They'll fund the project based on that. We did that, and then they said, oh, this piece is moved in a way that now puts you into this category. So their perspective on the layout of things shifted. So we're going back to basically the existing building to get the cost, basically get as much cost as we can pushed into that old building, so that we can achieve an obligated fund to then build the building that we want. So we're on we moved a couple program spaces from the old building to the new building, and the new FEMA team didn't view it like the old FEMA team did. They viewed it as it's now an improved project versus a replacement project. So that's really kind of where the kind of ship is, I guess, right now. So yeah.
And I'll just update one thing too, because it was a question from last week, so I'll give you a little bit more information. So as of right now, if we consider the insurance money that we've received, the $1 million from the big church that we received, and pledges that we've received, and pledges that we will still receive, we've received about 60% of those pledges from Hope on Holly campaign we did about a year and a half ago, so we're pretty much on track. So then if anything we get from FEMA, we add on top of that to do building. So the last budget we sent in was $17 million, but there's a lot of things in the building that we could cut out if we had to. When we submitted the $17 million, it was sort of one of those, hey, put everything in there you can think of, see what FEMA denies and not, knowing that we can always cut back and do it. So, that's where we're at. The old, yeah, so if we get the building project up and what they would end up doing is take that $14 million, they would back out the insurance payment we received of $4 million, and so the project would be $10 million, and then they would fund 90% of the $10 million, so that we would get $9 million from them. Then if you add the 6.2 that we already have, we would end up with about $15.5 million to build the project. So,
not from FEMA, just like
contractors.
Yeah, we work a little bit with FEMA on these bi-weekly or bi-monthly calls that we have. Is FEMA has said to us we're a reimbursement program, so go ahead and get started. And we're like, well, our contractor's going to want proof of funding, especially if we can't do this project. We've expressed that, and they've said, okay, we will. It's a reimbursement model on the back end, but they will give us an indication of obligation on the front end. So that's what we've been asking them for. We asked the question in the call in August when they kind of switched the path on us. We were like, couldn't we have done this estimate, a long time ago? And there's not really an answer. There's no answer given for that. But we're on this road, and the point is we need that sort of stated obligation. That money then goes to TEMA, which is the Tennessee leg of FEMA, and then we request reimbursement through TEMA throughout the construction. But yes, we do really need this kind of starting construction.
how does the demo just thing kind of factor into this? I mean, if maybe I'm getting a little caught up on replacement of the demo.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
yeah.
we sourced the same thing of like, you paid us to demo the building. Yeah. Remember that, right? So they actually already, yeah, they've already paid us and reimbursed us.
Demo. Yeah, we've received funds already for the demo project. We've received 90% of the funds from the park project. They'll finish the 10% when we finish everything. So we have a total of, I think it's 6 projects or 7 projects with FEMA. They've already paid us on 4. The demolition is the only one that's been totally closed out because it's all the work's done and everything. So yeah, they've already paid some funds. So
is there a number?
And I will say, working with DCMC, who's the FEMA consultant that we've hired, he did tell us that they have personally done projects where they've doubled the amount that FEMA first came with, or even gotten more than that. So he said, it's not like, oh look, you've got 7.2, don't count on, So yeah, our goal is to push it up to 17, but if we don't get it there, like I say, there's stuff that we can cut out of the building that we can still build it. Well, FEMA's the big one, that's right, because you can almost look at FEMA's like our construction loan. So we can go back to the contractors and say, yeah, here's our cash on hand, here's our construction loan, everything's ready, let's go. So it really depends upon FEMA, but the good news is everything's permitted and everything. So the minute we...
It's going to get more expensive by the time. How does that work?
Well, yeah, we will have to rebid the project because our bids are out on sale.
Yeah, our bid is from last November. I mean, it's already 10 months old. So, we're gonna have to rebid the project. When we hear from FEMA, we will have to then go back out on the street and kind of redo that bid. But at least at that point, we'll know from FEMA what the obligation is. Yeah.
And they do have cost of living escalators, FEMA. So whenever, like the last one they had, they used the first quarter of 23. So we'll get to use the last quarter of this year. So it'll have some escalators in it.
I'm gonna come over there.
All right.
I can do this. Let me check. Okay. Let me put this right here, and then I'll get here, and I don't need it for now. I think I want to go back and share three or four things they didn't share. I would start with this. You may not know, I didn't know, that FEMA was not paying for churches until 2 years before this tornado. I want you to let that sink in, that if this had happened 5 years ago, we wouldn't be in this room. And 2 years before the tornado, they decided they would pay for churches if we could demonstrate that we served the community. And Kim Harvey worked long and hard to prove that to them, that we are a church that is involved in the community. We're open to the community. We are a community church. And by virtue of that, she got us qualified. That's the word, qualified. We are now qualified. That is so different from obligated, because the obligated is the number. So I want you to know that this is a new program for FEMA to be fooling around with churches. And we're different than they're used to. The other thing that we got into this project, they were reimbursing at the rate of 75%, I believe, of the difference between our insurance and the cost. And they went up to 90. And that was providential for us. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a lot of money. So that happened good. Another thing, I don't want to say it happened good, but it did. When the tornado happened, it destroyed another church called Dobson Chapel, and they could not rebuild. And that's where the $1 million came from. I think we need to focus on that I think we're providentially building this church because we're supposed to build this church. If we got the $1 million from the conference for the sale of a church who couldn't come back, that is a big deal to me. It's like a promise. And so they gave us the $1 million, and that has to be spent on the building. They've made that very clear. But then the last part I want to share, who in the world would have thought that we could have raised $1 million in this little church of us? And we did. And so you look at the good things that have happened. Yes, we've had to back up. Yes, we've had to back up. And yes, FEMA is a big organization. Policies change. That's the nature of the federal government. Everybody knows that. But I think we're going down the right path now. And I was on that 2-hour call with FEMA not long ago. And here's what I took away. We're qualified. I have absolutely no doubt they want to give us the money, because we are qualified for the money. We have met those standards. It's just a matter of how much they're going to pay. And I think what Chris says about going back with the old plan of a footprint church like they want, give them what they want. Whatever they say, just go and give it to them. And then let's get on with it. But I thought you could appreciate the fact that we just didn't land here on a fluke. I mean, I see a lot of blessings that have occurred to put us in this room right now, even talking about building this church. Thank you.
All right, well, that concludes the town hall for today. Thanks for staying late, everybody. Appreciate it.